Today we're gonna talk about a specific topic that is climate change. Well, First we're gonna talk about the risk this issue has on the planet. Nicolas is gonna tell us something about it.
This is one of the most important issues that we're facing nowadays. In a few years, it is expected, economically first, it is expected that we're going to spend billions and billions trying to repair the damages we've made. It also has social repercussions because many people are going to die, and even nowadays there are hundreds and thousands of people that are affected.
Due to the climate change, many structures of planet Earth have been changing, and this affects animals drastically because their environments are changing. For example, the polar bears are now living in a changing home because the Arctic where they live it's melting, so they don't have the same status of life that they used to have, and they have to change their daily life.
The expert said that in some years we are going to face a very huge problem with the glaciers because the level of the sea are going to increment, and some cities like Miami or Cartagena are going to be in water.
So this is not only a natural issue, like with the polar bears dying, but also there are many social and economic and political problems involved in this. So if we start to lose land and the ocean start to grow and to cover more cities, then the economics are going to be affected because, for example, if you have a plantation near to the ocean and now it's underwater, well, you are not breaking your
Okay, what do you think we can do about this climate change? We know there are wrong consequences about it, but what can we do to make it better?
Well, a first solution that is running over the world is the pact between all the countries to work in that.
The treaty was signed in France and it involves the most important countries in the world. But there's a big issue in the United States because the president, Mr. Trump, he doesn't believe in climate change. So he wants to just throw it all away, and that will be catastrophic for everyone.
You can sign a treaty of countries, but how do you make sure that people in their daily life, for example, here in the school, are complaining with that agreement? For example, what do you do if someone is burning a paper or it's throwing garbage on the floor? All those things affect pollution, and that makes climate change our deal. I don't think a treaty among big countries is going to make really a difference.
Well, there is a study that states that the litigation cases of climate change have been tripled since 2014. So that can be a solution for that people that is not taking the caution that is in the treaty.
Exactly, there are laws, and people who are not complying with them, they're going to be punished. And for example, it is going to be a great difference to make the important countries reduce their CO2 levels, because if you have a huge company who's having all these CO2 emissions, it's going to be a much bigger change than just one regular person not throwing garbage on the floor. It's a huge company that's going green, and it's helping the environment to a much higher level.
Other solution that some governments are applying around the world is implement a tax engage with the carbon emissions to the people that in companies or in their quotidian activities have some machines or things with carbon dioxide products.
I think what you have to do right now is take action really fast, because if we let this problem go on for some years, the damage will be unlimited. And even though we don't realize it, our sons and grandsons are going to suffer that. Maybe we're not going to suffer it as directly as they are, but we have to think in the future and we start to take action right now.
Yeah, that's also the issue that many scientists from Dublin state a really nice sentence that is the oceans are rising, so are we. So that's like not only all the natural issues are happening, but also the humans are growing and the humans are being more and more. So that issue is gonna be growing and growing as well.
Exactly, because the demand is increasing, we need to supply that demand. So that means that the industries have to be much more efficient, and that goes with hand with the CO2 emissions. And the treaty helps to prevent a higher increase in that.
The other possible solution is to be together and unite to support other alternative energy devices to like supply all the demands in the world.
For example, life may be not change drastically, that we're going to die in 2020 because we're going to melt, but the life status and the style of life that we have is going to change. For example, imagine that you, as an old person, want to drink something, but there's not enough water for you, so you have to drink just 1 cup, and you can drink all the water you want because there's a ration that doesn't allow you that. Or you want to make a trip to Cartagena with your family. Maybe Cartagena is not going to be the same place. No, not maybe. Cartagena is not going to be the same place. The beaches are going to be way higher or lower, so the attractions are going to be different.
But I believe we are experiencing those changes nowadays, because every year is the hottest year in the world. Every month is the hottest month in the history. So that there are repercussions that we are living nowadays.
Yeah, NASA states that the past April was the second April that was the hottest. So that is happening. That is a real issue, and things that like Donald Trump is denying is not like believable. It's unbelievable that a president of such an important country, and a country that produces the most impact, the highest impact in the world, like USA, it's stating those ideas that are stupid.
Exactly, those are scientifically based facts. They're unrefutable. They're the truth, they're clear. I don't see how he doesn't believe them.
So basically, there are actions that we can make. There are also the studies that state that it's a real thing, that it exists, that the climate change is affecting the human being. So we need to start making action on this issue. We already have seen many organizations like Greenpeace that are working on it, demanding like the industries, the country to pay attention to this, because we are going to have many problems if we don't pay attention to this.
Yeah, we can't be selfish about it. We can lower our lifestyle a little bit by not consuming the same water or just not polluting seas, thinking in the future and in our sons. If we think in the future and not be selfish and try to spend as much water and electricity as we can, we are going to really make a difference for our future and for our kids, and I believe that's what every parent wants to do in the world. Make the world the best place you can for the legacy that you're going to leave, that is going to be your kids and your grandsons and etc.
We can make the difference changing the little things in the daily actions. For example, in the shower, or in what do you eat or what do you drink, in the quantities that you eat, you can change and make that the others could change?
Yeah, I think that there are both actions, like big actions and huge actions with the industries, with the countries, with the presidents, with the signature of a pact, and there are also like the common and the little actions that every person can make, and it's gonna make an impact if we all do it.